He texted you every day. He said you were different. He looked at you like you were everything. And then he was gone. No big fight, no real explanation, just gone. And you have been sitting with that question ever since. What happened? Here is what I want you to know. It was not you. It was his brain. Because men do not fall in love the way most women think they do. There is a very specific chemical sequence happening inside a man's mind. And when you understand it, everything starts to make sense. The confusion, the hot and cold, the disappearing, all of it. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly how a man falls in love. Not the fairy tale version, the real one. And listen, point 4. The Coolidge Effect. This one is going to hit you hard. It explains why so many women do everything right and still lose the man. And point 7. That is the part that actually changes the outcome. Stay with me. Before we get into point 1, I want to say something. By the time we reach number 7, you are going to understand something that most women never figure out. And it is the real difference between a man who stays and a man who disappears the moment things get serious. Here is the first thing you need to understand about men. What he feels for you in month 1 is not the same as what he feels in month 12. Not even close. Scientists who study love have identified 3 completely separate stages a man moves through. And most women never realize they are different stages at all. Stage 1 is lust. This is pure biology. Testosterone-driven, physical, and honestly, it has nothing to do with you as a person. He could feel this for someone he met an hour ago. Lust is not love. It is not even the beginning of love. It is just chemistry doing what chemistry does. Stage 2 is attraction. This is where things start to feel real. He thinks about you constantly. He wants to be around you all the time. He gets a surge of energy just from hearing your voice. This stage can last anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And here is what is wild about it. Scientists compare it to addiction. His brain is literally in a reward loop, and you are the reward. But Stage 3 is where real love actually lives. This is attachment, quieter, deeper, calmer than the fireworks of Stage 2. This is where different hormones take over, and instead of being obsessed with you, he wants to take care of you, protect you, choose you over and over again. The problem is that most women mistake Stage 1 or Stage 2 for the whole story. And when the fireworks fade, which they always do, they think love is gone. It was never gone. It was just growing up. He was not lying when he said he felt something. He just felt it in a stage that was never built to last. Now let us talk about what is happening inside his brain during that attraction stage, because it is not just feelings, it is chemistry. Dopamine is the feel-good hormone, and in the early stage of falling for you, his brain releases it every single time he thinks about you. Every time he sees your name on his phone. Every time you laugh at something he said. You are not just a person he likes. To his brain, you are a reward. This is why men in the early stage seem almost addicted. Staying up late texting, going out of their way to see you, wanting more. It is not just effort. It is dopamine pulling him toward you like a magnet. And here is what matters. Dopamine fades. That is not a problem. That is biology doing exactly what it is supposed to do. What matters is what replaces it. You were not crazy for feeling like he was obsessed with you in the beginning. He kind of was. Now here is the hormone most people have heard of, but nobody explains properly. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin gets released during physical touch, holding hands, a long hug, just being close to someone. And what it does is build trust. Real, felt, emotional trust. This is why everyday physical closeness matters so much, not just in a romantic sense. Sitting next to him, a hand on his arm, leaning in on the couch. Small, consistent, simple touch. Research shows that physical contact actually reduces loneliness. And for men, who are so often taught not to talk about feeling disconnected, touch becomes one of the primary ways they feel emotionally safe. So if you have ever noticed a man who seemed completely closed off slowly open up over time, this is why. You were building something real without either of you saying a word about it. But oxytocin is not the only chemical at play. And what I am about to tell you next, this is where most women get blindsided. We are halfway through, and the second half is where everything you thought you understood about men starts to shift. Point 4 especially, it explains something most women never see coming. Keep watching. Okay, this is the one. The Coolidge Effect. This is a biological phenomenon, and I wish every woman knew about it, because it explains so much confusion, so much heartbreak. Here's what happens. When a man becomes sexually satisfied too quickly, before the emotional bond has had time to form, his dopamine and vasopressin levels drop. Fast. And when those levels drop, so does his interest. Not because he is a bad person, not because you did something wrong, because his brain has moved out of the pursuit phase and has not yet entered the attachment phase. There is a gap, and a lot of men fall right through that gap without ever understanding what happened. Let me give you a real example. Maya met someone who felt completely different from anyone she had dated before. The connection was instant. The chemistry was undeniable. Things moved fast. And she thought that intensity meant something serious was building. But 2 weeks later, he started pulling back. Less texting, more distance, no explanation. And Maya blamed herself, wondered what she had done wrong. She had not done anything wrong, but the emotional bond had not had time to grow. And without that foundation, the chemistry had nowhere to go. You were not crazy. You were just caught in his chemistry. So does sex make a man fall in love faster? This is one of the most common questions women carry, and the honest answer is sometimes, but not in the way most people think. Yes, sex releases oxytocin. Yes, that builds closeness and trust, but oxytocin during sex is not the same as a man falling in love with you. Falling in love requires emotional connection, shared experiences, mutual respect built over time. Sex can deepen all of those things, but it cannot replace them. Think of it this way. Sex is fuel, but you need an engine first. If the emotional connection is already there, the trust, the real conversations, the genuine interest in who you are as a person, sex accelerates all of that. It adds depth to something that is already real. But if the engine is not there yet, you are just burning fuel with nowhere to go. This is why two people can have the most electric physical chemistry and still build nothing lasting. And it is why some couples with less initial spark build something so deep it surprises everyone around them, including themselves. What he actually bonds to is not your body. It is the feeling he gets when he is with you, the ease, the understanding, the sense that you actually see him. And what I am about to say in point 6, this is the piece that ties everything together. This is what explains why some men love completely and others always keep one foot out the door. There is one hormone in this whole equation that almost nobody talks about, and I think it is the most important one for women to understand. Vasopressin. This is the commitment hormone, the loyalty hormone, and in men it is directly linked to protective behavior, the urge to stay, to guard, to show up for one specific person. When vasopressin rises, a man stops being interested in other options. He starts investing. He starts thinking in terms of us instead of me. But here is what actually triggers it. It is not just time passing. It is emotional safety. It is the experience of being truly known by someone and choosing to stay anyway. When a man feels he can be honest with you, when he feels accepted, not managed, when being with you feels like rest instead of performance, vasopressin rises. You do not build this by doing everything perfectly. You build this by being real. By creating a relationship where both of you stop performing and start actually showing up. Here is the part most women never hear. Research shows that men in committed relationships have 21% lower testosterone than men who are not committed. And most women, when they hear that, think, wait, is that bad? It is not bad. It is love arriving. When a man commits, when he genuinely, consciously chooses you, his testosterone drops. And when testosterone drops, it stops blocking oxytocin. Suddenly, he can feel the bond fully. The attachment deepens. What felt like attraction becomes something quieter and so much more powerful. This is why the man who was wild and unpredictable in the beginning often becomes someone completely different when he truly commits. He is not the same man. His brain chemistry has literally shifted. And this is what separates the men who stay from the men who disappear. It is not about how intensely he liked you at the start. It is about whether he was ever willing to let the chemistry change. The man who commits to you is not less of a man. He is more of one. So after everything, the stages, the hormones, the biology, what actually makes a man fall in love and stay? It is not how beautiful you are. It is not how available you are. It is not how much you give or how perfectly you behave. It is this. He has to feel something with you that he cannot feel anywhere else. The quality of your time together matters more than the quantity. Whether you make him laugh, whether he can tell you something true and feel safe, whether being with you feels like rest instead of performance. He bonds through feeling understood, and that understanding, that real, genuine, I see who you actually are connection, that is what moves a man from attraction to attachment, from interest to love, from choosing you once to choosing you again and again. You do not make a man fall in love by being more available. You make him fall in love by being worth staying for. And that starts with understanding yourself first, knowing what you bring, knowing what you need, knowing the difference between a man who is caught in lust and a man who is slowly building towards something real. That is not something chemistry gives you. That is something you decide. If you want to go even deeper into this, into the real psychology of what makes a man chase you, choose you, and actually stay, I put together a guide called 72 Plus Secrets to make a man chase you and commit to you. It covers everything we talked about today and goes so much further into how men think, what actually builds real commitment, and how to shift the energy between you and the man you want without games and without losing yourself. The link is in the description. Go check it out when you are ready. And if this video helped you today, save it and share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will see you in the next one.